We decided to start with conservation about 15 years ago, and it started as a project, as a pilot project, because I saw the need of creating opportunities for women to be connected and to get hands-on working in conservation, and also touch on really important issues as family planning. And last year, a year and a half ago, we decided to create our own NGO to be able to go out and speak up about what we think is super important and connect the dots and the intersection between women empowerment and conservation issues. To a certain point, it's still a taboo, and people don't really want to talk about the connection between family planning or population and the pressure on the resources, natural resources. Now more and more people are happy and open to discuss it, but it's still something that is very intricate and delicate. We've seen the transformation from 15 years ago when we started talking about family planning, and back in that time it was even more difficult sometimes dangerous to talk about the women rights to choose how many kids and how often they wanted to have it. Now you can see that people who are with a lack of resources, they see that it's very the struggle of bringing all the resources that the family and the kids need, or sometimes even the women see the pressure on their bodies to have so many kids so often. And what we have created is this space and this opportunity for women to come and talk to us, and the experts that we bring in with the sessions to talk openly about these issues. We are super grateful for organizations like Population Matter who is supporting us, who giving us the resources and this network and partnership where we can not only be by ourselves, but with a community like-minded, that we share the same message and the same principles, and that makes us stronger, and we can reach out to more and more women. We see constantly more young ladies coming to us and ask us for help. They want to get involved, and they see it. Maybe we underestimate the knowledge and the understanding of the people in the rural areas, but they know about climate change. They see it, the change that nature is having at the moment with more fires or whatever the threats where they are. So sometimes we need to just give the opportunity for them to speak up and share with us, and we learn, most of the time we learn more from them than they learn from us. We were able to provide and help women to have access to family planning, more than 110 women. That is remarkable, that is incredible. So we are looking forward the future, and the very immediate future, when we're gonna be able to get more and more women involved. Our message is being heard, and with this opportunity to come here and tell about our stories, and we are only two people, but with a lot of passion, two women with a lot of passion that we want to work with many more women.
I think it's very important to talk about conservation in terms of conserving land and preserving rainforests and forests, but I also think, and what has been talked about in this conference, which is very important, is community development, how that affects conservation, which is one thing that we don't necessarily think that development has to go against conservation. You can develop communities that aid in the conservation of forests and ecosystems, which is very inspiring to hear from many people now, talking about gender, talking about indigenous people's rights, talking about empowerment. And there are so many women that are here that are so forward-thinking in conservation, and I think that there's a lot of hope moving forward in the future. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of women across the world and partners that are going to start doing some amazing changes.
So a concrete example is with the support of Population Matter. What we've been able is to organize more visits, so from the women. For instance, we have our own a woman who has been super interested and excited to lead on this project in the rural community. She is now the woman who calls all the tell us when they have a group of 12, because 12, 13 maximum is the capacity that the doctors can see in one day. So when we have this number of women interested, which is very quickly, within 2 weeks, we already have another group of women ready to go. And we get our transportation where they all go. Some of the women have to walk 2.5 hours to come to the meeting point. They leave 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. The van takes them down to Santa Marta when the doctors are waiting for them. And within one visit, they have the checkups, and the doctors decide what is the best method and when they can have the implant. Or some women, like is the case, they already have the operation for permanently tubal ligation. Thank you. And that was never heard of. We not even dare to propose it or even suggest it. But there was their own women who came to us and said, "Would you help us with the procedure?"
Yes, and it started from something like 15 years ago, working in Bauhil. That was a very difficult era. It was a very different time when the men would really react negatively to this kind of procedure and to this kind of access to it. And so now we're seeing actually the men are happy, and when I go and do these checkups, the men sometimes come with the women, and they are thanking us. They're thanking us. They're saying, "Thank you so much for the support. You don't understand how difficult it would have been for me to get this for my girlfriend or my wife, and thank you so much for helping us do this, because it would affect my life as well, because it affects men's life just as much as women's lives." And that's what we're doing. We want to make this a whole community involvement, not just with family planning, but also with education, environmental education, which is very important.
If you could say one thing to all the senior executives and decision makers that are here at the Congress, what would you say?
I would say that they have so much power to influence the people, how they think and their approach, that the whole organization, IUCN, but also the partners, they take. And I will encourage them to speak up even more about family planning and the gender empowerment. I know some are fully supported, but it's not taking the attention that it should even have, even more tracking, even more. Should be more on the table. An aspect so important is still, yes, we have made good progress, but it's a long way. And I would like to encourage them to maybe, I don't know if it's maybe being precautious or it's a very delicate issue. I don't know what it is, but I will encourage them because it is so important, and you will be surprised to see so many women who are really delighted that this is being spoken, the stories have been shared, and they would like to see more. And I know there are so many wonderful men and women who would like to support initiatives such as what the job that population matters is doing and benefiting small partners like ourselves.
As a young person, I can't lie and I can't pretend and say that I'm not afraid of what's going to happen, because I am afraid. But I think that if we can work towards a collective thought of mindfulness over what we do with nature, and not just like every day-to-day person, but governments, and we remove the ego. If we remove the ego of organizations, of politicians, remove the ego of how society is structured, I think that we could really get further. And I think that what we're doing here is really important. But I hope that by the time next Congress comes around, there's more change. There's more results. And I'm very happy to hear a lot of people talking about gender now. I'm sure it wasn't like that 10 years ago, but it is really important. It is something that is new, and I think that it can be expanded on a lot. And not just gender, but indigenous rights and the ability to elevate their voices, not talk for them, but give them the microphone. That's what I'm really pushing for. And by the time next Congress comes around, I hope that this is grown into something, an unstoppable movement of the entire world.